here from Plans Meet Paper, and today I wanted to come on and give you guys a peek into my planner. I've been using this same system for all of 2021 so far, and I've really been enjoying it. I have switched binders, so just the outside part. I believe last time I filmed a video on this setup was February 2021, and at that time I was in a Filofax Finsbury binder. Right now I'm actually in a Filofax Malden, which I'm really liking as well, but the guts of the system have stayed pretty much the same. I wanted to come on and film today though, because I know I like to see kind of an after the fact view at what a planning system looks like, you know, once it's all written in, once it's been filled out, how it's actually working. And so that's kind of what I wanted to come on and show you guys today, is just that updated look and kind of a flip through the past months and weeks and all the different components of my system to show you guys what it looks like after it's been used. So I'll just take you guys through the planner. I have my two writing utensils that I always have, a highlighter and a friction pen. The color of the highlighter changes, the pen pretty much always stays the same. I have in my front zipper pocket, I will mention that I have been using this planner right now as a wallet essentially too, which I know seems crazy for an A5 size. Basically what I do is I have my driver's license and the one card that I use most of the time in a separate pocket in my diaper bag that I take with me everywhere. But I have everything else, all of my other cards, all of my membership cards, cash, all of that kind of stuff in this planner, because most of the time if I'm going somewhere like the doctor's office or somewhere where I'm going to need those kinds of cards, I have this with me. And even like when I go to the gym, I bring it with me because sometimes I will take a glance through and plan after I've finished working out before I pick my kids up, that kind of thing. So I actually have this with me most of the time in my diaper bag. But if I don't have it, it's those two cards that I need for a quick trip into the store or anything like that. So that's how I'm using this as a wallet. But in this front pocket, I've got just a few membership cards and another debit card that I use sometimes. So I've got those in here. And then I also have some 3x5, regular 3x5 cards that I use to make grocery lists right now. This one has kind of got my like specialized grocery lists for the stores I don't go to very often. And then I usually just make a big list like for my weekly groceries on one every week. And I just keep those here in this front pocket so that throughout the week I can easily add things to my shopping lists. I've got a couple of different kind of post-it notes type things here in the front. Oops, kind of pushing that back farther. I've just got a small post-it note. These ones are actually those clear post-its, which I'll show you an example of how I use those here in a few minutes, but I do like to have those in here. I've got some little flags in case I need to flag anything off. A clip, same thing, just for easy access. And then I have just a few dollars cash in here as well in case I need it. In the back, I do have a piece of pretty firm cardstock that I use to just kind of firm up the planner a little bit. The Malden is very soft, which is nice, but I do sometimes like to write on this like on my lap on the couch. And so that's why I put in that piece of cardstock just to help it firm up a little bit. And then I also have a bunch of blank note cards that I like to have on hand for birthday cards, thank you cards, whatever, when I need them. So that's what I've got here in the front. In the rings, I actually have 12 dividers, which is crazy. I know that's a lot of dividers, and I'll show you what's in them. But first I just have a flyleaf and two pieces of nice scrapbooking paper that just have some beautiful designs to look at. I think I got both of those at like Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure. I don't keep super good track of where I get planner supplies because I don't buy very many planner supplies. I tend to stick with the same things that I know work for me. So sorry. I did purchase these dividers from an Etsy shop. So I will link that shop down below. I think it was called, you know what, I'm not gonna guess because I might get it wrong and I would hate to do that. So I will just link it down below. Look for the link if you're looking for dividers. The nice thing about these is I had them designed to be half letter size or Franklin Covey classic size, but not punched, because I print my own dividers, or I print my own inserts and I make them half letter size because I live in the United States and it's a little bit easier, or a lot of bit easier, to print and cut half letter inserts than A5 inserts, because you just print on a US letter size sheet of paper, cut it right down the middle, and you're done. There's no extra trimming, there's no scrap paper that you have to throw away. So that's how I do my inserts. And these dividers from the shop, like I said, I ordered them unpunched, so they didn't have the Franklin Covey holes that were in different places than these, but they fit really nicely with half letter inserts. So that's a little tip for you if you like to use half letter inserts as well. And they're just clear frosted dividers. Inside this first one, I've got my monthly pages. So the first one is like the whole year at a glance. I just use that for reference. And then I have my monthly pages for the whole year so far. How I tend to use these is I do my general to-do list on the front side. And this is a dot grid. If you can't see, I just print dot grid on the back. And then I've got my monthly view in the middle. And I use that a ton. I definitely write all my appointments, birthdays, holidays, zone cleaning, all sorts of stuff on there. And then on the back, I tend to write my plans for my Etsy shop or YouTube channel. So that's where I keep track of that. And that's been pretty consistent for the whole year so far. I'll just give you guys a peek at how my months look. You can see I tend to choose one highlighter color per month, and then I use that same highlighter for the whole month, and then I switch the next month. I really like that system because I keep it consistent on my month and on my weekly pages and even my daily pages. So it makes it really easy for me to find a certain month of weekly pages in my binder if I want to look back and see something, because I can just look at the colors and I don't have to look at the actual dates until I'm kind of getting narrowed down to the right page. So that's kind of what my monthly pages look like. I highlight the most important things that I want to draw my attention. And actually, typically what I do is highlight things that require me to be out of the house with my kids at a certain time, really scheduled things. And that helps me to make sure I'm on time for those things and prepared. So this is the current month, August 2021. And there's more things I should probably highlight on there. I've kind of been adding things and not keeping up with the highlighting, but that's okay. For my to-do list, you can see I use a little bit of like a bullet journal style where I have certain annotations that mean things. So a check mark means it's completed. An X means that I'm not going to do it this month, or not going to do it at all. And then a like squiggly arrow means that I'm forwarding it to another time. So that's kind of how I do that. And I've just got all my different appointments and things written in here. I refer to this every week when I'm doing my weekly planning. And then for starting in August, I also have a page put in here for each month for my preschool planning. My son is 2.5, and so I'm doing a little bit of preschool type learning activities at home with him. I wasn't quite ready to send him off to in-person preschool yet, but I did want to start doing some different types of learning activities intentionally with him. So I've just been planning those out, using Pinterest and different resources like that to look them up and find good activities that I think he'd be really interested in. And then I just make a plan for the month. And we keep it super flexible, so you can see we definitely haven't gotten through everything for this month, but that's okay. We just kind of go at his pace and what he happens to be interested in at the time. Right now, he is super interested in trucks, cars, vehicles of all kinds. So that's kind of the theme that I used for planning August, is all sorts of truck activities. Here's September. I've got that one mostly planned out already because it starts here in about a week. And I chose green for September. And then I've got my September preschool planning done as well. You can see I kind of forwarded over some of the truck activities that we didn't get to from August. And then we're starting another unit on farm and farm animals next unit because he's pretty interested in that as well. I do have the rest of 2021 in here, and you can see I do write things in advance on my months. I don't try to wait and do it all at the beginning of the month. I go ahead and forward plan. I haven't highlighted anything yet. I usually do wait and do that right before the month starts, just to kind of get my head straight on what's going on. So that's my monthly section. I have an important dates page here at the end of the section for 2022. The next month, or the next tab, excuse me, is my weekly planning. And you can see I actually just took out, at the beginning of August, I took out a bunch of pages from earlier in the year just to slim down the planner a little bit because it was getting a little over full. So I can show you guys what my previous months of planning look like in here too, but they look pretty similar to this. I've been using this same week on one page with notes on the other side pretty consistently for the year. Maybe writing in it a little bit differently throughout the year, but mostly the same. So you can see here's previous months. This was January. That's when I used this turquoise color previously. Here's February was pink. You can kind of see how I like to do the colors because it makes it really easy to see what month it was. There are absolutely weeks where I don't highlight or my planning just kind of looks like a mess. There's weeks that I missed altogether because I think this was when I started potty training my son, and so we were just kind of off the grid for a week or two while we were doing that. And I just felt like we were so busy. I didn't have time to do anything, especially, spend time planning for fun. So it looks like mid-March I kind of picked back up with highlighting and planning a little bit more nicely. So you can see there's March, there's April was purple, so on and so forth. I won't flip through all the pages for you, but you kind of get the idea. I just highlight, I do notes on this side of the page, and those are just my week at a glance pages. I also have my daily pages here. This is just another binder that I own. It's a Filofax Original in navy, and right now I'm just keeping my old pages from this year in here. So here are my daily pages from previous in the year. For a while, for the beginning of the year, a long time actually, like 4 or 5 months, I was using this layout, which is, it was like a block schedule layout where I was doing my to-do lists for my different blocks of the day in these different sections. And I'm not sure if you can see, there is dot grid behind the blocks, which was helpful for writing neatly. So I used that for a long time and I really enjoyed it. I tend to use the back side for my devotional each day. So that's where I kind of take my Bible notes and my prayer notes and that kind of thing. But I decided to go away from that more recently. I've been just using blank dot grid or blank lined paper. And I've just been using that to make more of a bullet journal style daily, where I just kind of use however much space I need and then I go on to the next day. So I just kind of switch that up depending on what I'm needing, but you can see I use the same color highlighter, so it's really easy to see right away that this is April because I used purple in April, so on and so forth. Yellow is June, etc. So this is where I'm keeping my extra pages from earlier in the year. And that is the next tab in my planner, is all those daily pages. These are the most recent ones. And I just really write anything down on my daily pages. Sometimes I use a page just for like a couple days, like a weekend, if I want to make one big list, or, I used a page earlier here for camping meals and prep since we were going camping. So I just kind of use that however I need for the day. Also, I'll point out, I do have 3 Filofax rulers in my planner here. The first one goes to my month, the second one goes to my week, and the third one goes to the current day. And then those are all the top markers that I have. And after that, I just have more blank paper just to be used for daily pages as needed. My next tab is my tracking tab and my goals section. So on this section, I've got my daily routines, and then I track those for each week. And again, I don't really do this because I need to use this to remember all the things that I like to do each day. It's more of just like a pat myself on the back throughout the day of all the little mundane things that I need to do as a mom and homemaker, etc., a person, just to stay on top of my life. So I like to just check them off because it kind of keeps me motivated to keep going. You know, am I going to forget that I have to wash my baby's bottles before I use them again? No, but does it feel nice to be able to check something off after I've done that each day so I feel a little bit more accomplished? Yes, it does. So that's why I use these pages. At least in this season of life, I find them really helpful since there's just so many little things that I have to do to take care of my kids and take care of my family. And I spend majority of my time every day doing these kinds of things. I like to be able to check something off. Otherwise, I feel like I've gone all day and I don't feel like I've gotten anything done, even though I've done a lot of things. They're just kind of those daily routine things that we have to do to keep going. So that is why I use a tracker right now. I also have a fitness tracker for August. I just put this in here to try to keep me motivated. I did one for June and July as well, but I have them in my archive notebook I just showed you. So I just write down what I did at the gym on the days that I went, and I don't do anything real specific. I just kind of write in general, just so I can look back and see how many days I worked out, that kind of thing. And this is just a vertical monthly page. It's got 31 days, so I can use it for any month of the year. And if there's extra days, I just cross them off. And then I usually use my highlighter to mark the weekend days just to help me keep track of what day of the week it was when I'm writing in here. So that's my fitness tracker for August. I also have a weekly habit tracker page, so I just need one of these per month. And these are things I like to get done at some time during the week, just one time a week. And you can see I definitely don't do them all perfectly. I miss them quite a bit, but it at least helps me to see last time that I did do it, and I just do my best to keep up with it in the future. So, you know, these are things like dusting all the rooms in the house, vacuuming all the rooms in the house, and I definitely, you know, do a quick cleanup more than just once a week, but this is like a, you know, getting all the surfaces dusted type thing. Washing all the sheets, doing budgeting, meal planning, grocery list, cleaning out the coat closet. I did add recently, in the last month or two, a couple things to this weekly habit tracker, and I thought this was helpful, so I thought I'd mention it on here. What I've been doing is just the areas in my house that tend to get built up, clutter, that tend to get messy all the time, that bother me, instead of just kind of getting frustrated with it and giving up, or trying to spend a ton of money to create some fancy new system. For the most part, I already have organization in place for these systems. It's just that we use them all the time, and I have little kids, and so I always have my hands full, and I end up just dropping things in there when I have my hands full. I'm sure other people out there can relate to that kind of situation. So these are just the areas that are kind of like hot spots. They're getting used all the time, messed up all the time. And so what I've done is just added them to this weekly habit tracker so that at least once a week, I try my best to really clean it out fully, get it reset back to, you know, the way I would like it to be all the time. And having to do that once a week, or trying to do that once a week, helps me to maintain it better on a daily basis as well, because I know it's going to be a pain in the butt in a couple days if I don't keep up with it on the daily. So that's kind of what's been keeping me more intentional about some of those cluttery places in my house. So I thought I'd mention that. I have my goals that I've talked about in a previous video. These are my Q2 goals, or Q1, and then I have Q2 on the back. So goals and affirmations, I just have those written out. And then I have a bunch of extra routine trackers, monthly trackers to use in the future. My next tab is my reference section. So I've got my password hint tracker. And then I've got this page ready because I need to start thinking of gift ideas for the holidays. So I just write the person's name and then my ideas for them, and I check it off when I've purchased it. And then I've got my camping packing list. We go camping quite a bit in the summer, so especially with having kids, there's so much stuff we have to bring. So it's really helpful to have out a really specific detailed packing list for that. And so I typed this out, and then as you can see, this is an example of where I use those clear Post-it notes. I just stick them all over the page, and then I can write all over it without actually writing on the original document, and that way I can reuse it throughout the summer. I just pull off the sticky notes after the trip, and then I'm good to go. So that's how I use that page. My next section is my appointment tracker section. So I've got one page in here for my dog. I've got a page for medical for me and dental for me, and then medical for each of my children and dental for each of my children. So of course I don't want to show you medical or dental details about my family, but my dog, I went ahead and left his on top here so you can see. I just kind of write the date and then what happened at the appointment, what we talked about. I usually have like the doctor's name and phone number and address written in on this page just for a quick reference. So I've got a bunch of those pages for me and my kids. My next section is my home management section. So I still have my meal tracker. I've talked about this in several previous videos as well, so I won't go on about that, but it's just easy go-to meals for the month and grocery lists for each of those weeks. I don't use this every single week. I just use it to kind of help me think of ideas. Sometimes I use it as is, just depends. I've got notes on my Fly Lady system that I use, and then I've got all of my Fly Lady zone cleaning trackers. I've talked about those a ton in previous videos, so I'll just flip through them quickly for this video. I have been keeping up with my Fly Lady tasks moderately well this year, so I'm pleased with that. My next tab is my budgeting and finance notes. Again, those are somewhat private, but basically I use the same 2-column layout most of the time. I just write like my headings or my date that I'm taking the notes here in the small column, and then I write all the notes over in the large column. And this is dot grid again. Most of the pages in my planner right now are dot grid, a few are lined. I've just been enjoying writing on dot grid more this year, so that's why I've got those. And so a bunch of different pages on budgeting. Again, if you have specific questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. I'm always happy to chat with you guys down there. My next section is projects. So I've got more of those same 2-column dot grid pages, one page for Shutterfly projects. So that's where I like to do all of my memory keeping, my baby books, I do gifts and things off there for grandparents, and then my yearly albums. So I just try to keep up with those as best I can throughout the year. I've got house projects that we are always working on. A lot of these we've gotten done, but we still have a few things left to do this year. So I've just got that in here. And then this is my kids section. So right now I've got a lot of preschool notes in here for planning future units. So I've got the trucks unit, farm unit. I've got notes on clothes that my kids need for future sizes. This is an old schedule for each of my kids and kind of how I work those together. I've got notes for my baby's first year and all the memories I like to keep for that. And then I've got a packing list for him as well. And in my next section is my Etsy store and YouTube notes. So I just keep notes on videos and inserts that I want to create in here. And then last is just basically blank extra pages. This was just a list of things I wanted to add to my planner earlier in the year. But I've got a bunch of different lined paper. I've got some grid paper, some 2-column. So those are just extra pages for when I need them. And I've got a blank flyleaf to lift my pages in the back. I have my routine trackers here. So I'm not going to pull them all out because on the other side I have my debit cards and my credit cards, but these are my like monthly, weekly, daily planning routines, and I don't need to pull them out all the time because I'm really used to my system now, but when I do need them, they're here and they're handy to pull out and refer to. And like I said, I'm using this as a wallet right now, so these are my extra insurance cards, debit cards, things like that in the back of that card holder. And then I've got a top loading envelope with a ton of other stuff in here. This is kind of my inbox that I just throw everything before I have a chance to go through it. So this is real life. It's full of lots of things. I've got stamps, coupons, my COVID vaccine card, some notes, some more coupons, just all the things that I need to go through at some point. So that is my planning system. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this updated view kind of halfway through 2021, how it's going, how I've been using it. And as always, stop by in the comments, say hello, ask questions, and I will chat with you guys down there. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.